Hello world, it's Dave again, and I got another video here for you from Teaching in Japan. Fu- Fute, Cute Furry Mammals. And you must be thinking, that's a provocative title, gets the people going. What the hell is he talking about? And it's just some thoughts I've been having in class recently when I'm teaching the kids, and it struck me just in the last couple days, called the last week or so. But I'm going to do a little preamble beforehand. So, we know in nature that mammals have naturally evolved, that groups of them, like I say, cute furry mammals, evolve to be cute, and that cuteness is actually an evolutionarily beneficial trait, and that something that is cuter will actually be protected more often, especially from a like-minded mammal. I think that's something that we share in common, and it goes beyond your own genus, your own species, or whatever. That when you look at a cute furry creature, you can't help but help it because you're like, oh, look at that cute thing. Just look at, the basic attraction for like cats and dogs and these sort of things when they're small, and you help them based on that cuteness. You can't help it. If you, the basic example I could give is if you walk along the road, this is going to turn into such a ridiculous video. If you're walking along the road and you saw an injured snake, but it turns out in this snake's mind it was the most well-mannered snake in the world, you would not likely help that snake based on the fact that it was not cute. Its evolutionary, step up that it has is that it can do all these other things. But if you come across a puppy and it was injured, you just go, oh man, that puppy's so cute, I'm going to help it. And that might be the worst puppy in the world. It displayed behavior far worse in a moral sense than the snake had, but you would help the puppy based on that cuteness. And so this relates directly into the classroom, believe it or not. Can you believe that? So what I was thinking of is just when favoritism pops up in your classes and you hadn't even intended it to. You're trying to do things with an even hand. You're trying to give out help to kids evenly. But I just noticed in this last week that now that I've been here for like a little over half a year, I guess, and I've developed a few relationships, and I do and try and spread my attention equally. But it's not just kids who are more positive. It's definitely that you look around the room, and this is entirely in a cute, non-sexual sense, but some kids are just cuter than others, and they draw your eye for attention much more quickly. They got those big doe eyes, and they're like, some are super small, and it's like any male or female regarding this individual, be it male or female, would be struck by that. And just like we see in nature that somebody might adopt an animal based on its cuteness, you adopt a special attention to that individual because they're this cute, furry little mammal. And you can't help yourself. It's a really strong evolutionary trait. And so I've started this video with a little bit of ridiculousness, basically, but it is based in a little shred of truth here, just talking about on that base level, you can have your intention twisted by this thing where you just, without thinking about it, favor the kids in the class who just give you the big doe eyes and they got like a little cute voice or something like that. And you're like, oh, it's so pleasant to interact with this. But now being more serious, I want to make this video just to realize that you should take the time if you want to, do equal justice for everyone in the class to really look around each time and pick out the kids who are quiet, pick out the kids who you haven't interacted with as much or at all. You got however many classes. It's hard to touch base with to touch every child. To interact with every child, to interact with everyone. And so the point should be to really try and do that, to go into each class. And if you're finding yourself in a habit of, this also happens when you find that kids are, a little more successful, if they're doing better than other students, you almost lean on them as a crutch in a way because you're like, oh, I don't succeed with these other students, but I know that if I work with this particular cute furry mammal that is a little more intelligent or takes English a little more seriously, I'll have some success and feel good about myself. And to try and ignore that tendency to basically defy that instinct in yourself to help the cute furry little dog on the side of the road and help the injured snake. This is so cruel. The kids aren't snakes, nor are they dogs. But I just thought it was a funny joke. I think it's pretty funny. And it can have a huge impact, and it's been really, really good since I've been making the effort to interact with everybody, because it's just really rewarding. That a lot of the times, not surprisingly, kids are just really, really intimidated, probably especially by me with my huge gaijin nose, and I'm 6'2.5", and these kids are, I'm pretty big in my own country, let alone coming to Japan, and so kids are a little naturally intimidated by myself. And to interact with them, to go one-on-one when I have a chance, and spend some time with the exercises, has been really rewarding. And of course, it draws them out of their shell a little bit. Not everybody, you're still going to have your successes and failures in the class, but that you really can progress a lot when you get that chance to have the one-on-one interaction and to make sure that you're spreading your attention around. That's what this video is really about. It's making sure that when you have the opportunity, that you are not just zeroing in on a particular student or particular group of students in the class to try and get to as many people as you possibly can. Because I was really thinking recently, I was just considering the whole scheme of things. It's shown, it's put a light on what I think of educating kids and the difficulties behind it. And ideally, I'm not saying every kid would have to learn this way, but I really do realize, at least with something like language, and I don't see any of the other subjects lacking in complexity, that ideally every kid would have their own tutor. You would not have these 30 kid classes. You would have as much staff or people as you could possibly get, that each person could have an individual tutor for every single subject. And that's an ideal world. And I suppose the way that this can work is if parents take an active role. They're not going to be good at every single subject, but they can give them that support if you start at whatever age and you help your kids out, and you don't run their schooling, you don't like do their work for them, but that you try and tutor them, if you have the chance. I know it's difficult in this day and age. Everybody works so much and so hard, but that is really what everybody needs. Everybody needs individual tutors, and a light is really shining on that fact when you see a class of 30 kids. And even when I feel like I've done the best job that I can possibly do in leading the class or involving myself, 50-50 with the other Japanese teacher who is there, that when I go and I instruct the kids individually, that truth be told, there's lots and lots of kids in the class that absolutely needed that extra one-on-one interaction to get it, and they might not even get it in that one-on-one interaction, and then to go to the next group and find the same thing. Now, people can go on here and they can say that I'm doing a horrible job if it's not sinking in, but I just think that we really do, maybe especially with language, this is the only subject I've taught, but I think it'd be pretty universal learning. We do need that extra help, unless you are a particularly gifted individual. And I think I feel in tune with this idea as well, because when I see people struggling, it absolutely represents my own experience in school, where I wasn't a quote unquote special student, but I really benefited from the help, the additional help that people would give me, and I would have never arrived where I am today had I not had the extra help of individuals who were willing to give it. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And I don't think it's a shocking thing when kids need that, and I guess I'm going on a bit of a ramble here, but it's also that kind of thing. Like I was saying, your tendency can be that you'll use a crutch as the more intelligent student. I mean, you go with a little cliche here, but it was, Einstein was like horrible at math, and just because children are apparently less intelligent or not succeeding in quite the same way as others in a class doesn't mean that they couldn't go on to change the world in an inconceivable way. They just need to believe that they can do these things. And I think the one-on-one interactions, the small successes that they do have, reinforce this idea. I've said this before in other videos, that before we learn things that we need to learn to learn. You need to be able to go into learning and not resent that whole process. And I think that a great way to impact that is to make sure that you're spreading your attention evenly, that you're getting around these classes and making sure that each kid, still given the choice, because, there's lots of kids that go up and they're like, go away, big nose. But the kids, you are giving them at least the choice, where if you don't, they don't even get the choice to reject you. They're just left alone to their own devices, and they never know if somebody was willing to shine that light that little bit more and create that potential for them to maybe realize something more in themselves. So I started with cute furry mammals. I've gotten to the main point. I feel good. I've rambled on it for a little while here. That is essentially every kid in that classroom needs your attention. In a different world, we have individual tutors and more time to dedicate to each student, but we don't. So with the resources that we do have available to us, you need to prevent yourself from falling into what I think are easy pitfalls, and that's pitfalls of too focusing your attention when you should realize it's needed everywhere. And it might be more immediately satisfying because you see a quicker result of that one student who's excelling far more, or these other students draw your attention because they got the big doe eyes and this cute voice. So you're like, it's just like, if I had my own kids, it'd be great to interact with somebody who was like this. You need to deny yourself that for let's call it the greater good. And you never know, that one kid that you interact with, who I know because I experienced this with my teachers when I was younger, that they do make a difference. They make a fundamental difference in the way that you see the whole world, your whole approach to learning, and it can be with a very simple interaction that you are then inspired beyond that point. And so, yeah, you're teaching them English, but you're teaching them a lot more than that, and you're getting a chance to really impact them in that way when you have this just hyping this individual interaction thing, because it is the whole point. And, to add a happy trailer onto the end of this, I mean, I really do notice it as I've gone around the class a little bit more, and you continually surprise yourself with these kids who, at least initially, really seem in their shell because you hadn't got to them yet, that once you do interact with them, they do come out of their shell. Not all of them, but again, everybody's different. I'm just saying that I've seen it happen, that some of them really do beyond that point. And so I know that I've made a positive impact. So that's that. No reason to ramble here for like 20 minutes about making sure that you divide your attention. But that's that. I'm going to be, of course, more teaching videos to come, more suggestions, more rambling from Dave about teaching English in Japan. So if you enjoy this, please do like, subscribe, and share or whatever. And there'll be more videos to come. What am I going to do here? Give a Japanese word? Sure. Japanese word down in the description for you is going to be Abunai. And a song that I like to recommend is it's going to be a mystery song. It's going to be a rap song. This guy who's featuring Purity Ring in his song, and it's awesome. You'll enjoy it. So you got those goodies down below. So like I like to say, thanks for tripping with Dave, and until we meet again next time, world, ciao for now.